It's such a delight to have you join us on another engaging edition of sports this morning. Richie from Channels Television Sports Center in Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Austin Okonakwan. Action-packed world of sports. So much to talk about. Let's have fun. We will begin with women's football. Yes, Nigeria defeated England with a 2-1 comeback win to top Group C, putting the Europeans on a quick flight back home. Nigeria have a strong tradition of success at the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup and displayed their fortitude by coming from a goal down to secure that decisive win. The Falconet are on the march again. Let's go over to China, where the spirit of the Olympics is being tested in faraway Nanjing, China, as the Chinese government has openly shown what a lot of sports pundits have tagged discrimination against Nigeria. Nigerian athletes who are in China for the Youth Olympics have been quarantined and barred from training over the outbreak of the Ebola virus. The Chinese government, in a statement to the National Sports Commission, says they've prevented the athletes from training as other countries' athletes have been doing since arrival. It's not just Nigeria. Sierra Leone has also been told to go back home, and the athletes are back in Freetown. According to some sports pundits, they say this is unacceptable and totally against the Olympic spirit. Is this discrimination against Nigeria? We'll talk about it. The Borussia Dortmund winning the second successive Super Cup after defeating Bayern Munich by 2-0. Eric Mkhitaryan and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who is known as the Spider-Man, put up the show to give Borussia Dortmund that win. That's it on your screen right there. An African doing us proud and putting up the Spider-Man show. In golf, the struggle continues for Tiger Woods, who has been ruled out of contention for next month's Ryder Cup because of injury. The 38-year-old American, who failed to qualify automatically for the Gleneagles event, has been suffering from a persistent back problem. Woods had surgery in March and has been told not to play by his doctors. So that's it. No Ryder Cup action for Tiger Woods. Let's come back home. Everyone is still talking about the Falconet win against England, and they've qualified to play in the quarterfinals of this year's FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup right there in Canada. They will meet New Zealand. We'll let you see how they defeated England. It was a comeback win, good one for Peter Dedevo and his team. And I'll come back. My colleague Cecilia Omorogbe will join us and we'll talk sports. Sports this morning on Channels Television. We'll be right back. Stay.
By 2-1. Maybe some space to profit. There's the goal that England were looking for. What a start. Nikita Paris afforded much too much space. McCoy, DK, does turn well. There's the danger. And England lose it again. Ayla, what about that for a response? Spectacular. What a moment. The ball broke kindly, and Labeth Ayla found a way through. That is a magnificent response, and despite the best efforts, chance Nigeria inside the area. It's the penalty they were looking for. England's turn to concede a spot kick. Can Nigeria take the chance? Yes. A successfully taken spot kick.
Nigeria by number 4,
That's Issa Oshwala's moment. And for the first time in this Group C contest, Nigeria leads. Bottom corner. Showed commendable composure.
So that's it. The Falconets defeating England by 2-1 to qualify for the quarterfinals at the ongoing FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in Canada. Good one for the Falconets. They're on the match again, looking good to impress when talking about women's football. So that's it. Sports this morning on Channels Television. We want to take a look at all that is happening in your exciting world of sports. And I know you want to join the fun. Yes, you can. On Twitter, you can join us and give us questions, comments, or suggestions. Twitter, it's channels_sports. Facebook with channels-sports. What are you talking about? A lot of Nigerians are talking about what happened at the Youth Olympics in China. Remember, Nigeria traveled out there with their athletes and looking ready to compete. But then the Chinese government says, no, the fear of Ebola is the beginning of wisdom. So they said, no games for Nigeria, come back home. And it has sparked a lot of talking points. And we'll keep talking about it until what some people say, justice must be done, because the spirit of the Olympics is being tested by the action of the Chinese government. Cecilia Morigbe joins us now. Cecilia, good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I was going to give you a handshake, but with all that was going on, maybe very soon I will start taking knuckles. Good to have you on the program.
Let me clarify something. You know, if you have Ebola and all that, the person must be very, very sick for him to actually transfer it. And usually we don't get to see very, very sick people outside.
But the Chinese government just redefined that. Now you don't have to be very sick.
I think
they just need to know that there is Ebola in your region.
They actually need to get the facts right. I'm so surprised that a whole health ministry don't even understand what this disease is all about. How can you decide to bar them from actually training with other athletes? Since the time they arrived at the Olympic Village, they were left alone. They were asked to train on their own, and that is not possible. Sport is supposed to be a team game, and of course that team spirit and all that, and the fact that you're competing among your team, and just making friends, not just competing alone. I mean, being able to make friends, that's also another thing. So for you to have gone to a tournament and you can be allowed to train, so I think what the National Sports Commission did, I mean, talking about Director General Legbele did, was okay. Since you guys cannot train along with other athletes, I mean, you've been a kind of how do I put that? You've been sideline. I mean, as if maybe you have something like not just a virus, but something. Precisely. So at the end of the day, just okay. The best thing is let's come back home and let them even compete. And Nigeria is not just the only country, of course. Sierra Leone, they actually told the Sierra Leoneans we cannot guarantee you. So those ones they're back home. It's really a pity that because of something like this, I mean, the Chinese government could not even understand what it's all about. And if you check China, I mean, when you're talking about pollution, they're number one. People walk in the street of China and having to cover their mouth, their nose and all that because of the level of pollution. So if you're having other people actually coming into your country, it simply means they did not discriminate against that. And they won't allow you to host despite the level of population in your country. So why do that to other countries that are coming in?
Okay, Cecilia, I'm talking about what's going on right there in China. But one man that is monitoring the situation and can give us more on more updates as regards Nigeria pulling out of the 2014 Youth Olympic Games in Nanjing, China, is the Secretary General of the Nigeria Olympic Committee. His name is Tunde Popola. Tunde, it's good to have you on Sports this morning. I'm fine, thank you. Good to have you on the program. And then we've been following what's going on. You spoke to us yesterday. What can you tell us? What's new?
Well, there is really nothing new. The fact is that we will not subject our athletes, to any kind of trauma. It's bad enough not having new training along with the other colleagues. A sports tester is one that will have everybody, participating together, moving freely, getting along with other people. But where you have a situation because you are suspected, then let me just correct this straight away. None of the athletes, when they tested women into China, had anything to do with Ebola. They are clean, they are free. I would suppose that at that moment in time, they should be allowed at least to have some level of freedom. Don't let us forget that these are young people, young athletes who have a long way to go. And when at this point in time they are subjected to such issues, then it's unfortunate. I do not have any quarrels or grumbling about any country trying to protect its own territory, trying to protect any kind of disease or whatever coming into their own country. But the extent at which this thing is going is not really, it's very unfortunate. I don't think this is really directed at Nigeria alone, but those other countries that have been called or labeled or having Ebola virus, I think that's what's happening to them. You be staying alone in your village, you family train along with yourselves, you move along with yourselves. The only point is in training. Contact sport, especially wrestling. A decision has already been taken whether we are going to take part in that. But that is not the issue now. The issue is we want our athletes back. We don't want their psyche to be disturbed. We do not have any qualms about whatever measures have been taken. And I want to say this. I would not want to call this discrimination, but I think it's a preventive measure by the government concerned. So that's the way it is. And that's it.
The Chinese government, they've done their part to say Nigeria should leave. What is the Nigeria Olympic Committee doing? Are you guys speaking to the International Olympic Committee as regards what's going on?
No, the issue is this. The International Olympic Committee, before decisions were taken, before we arrived at the decision, I think the World Organization and the country, and then of course the Olympic Committee, they are aware of these measures. The measures are being taken not to ask us to go, not to ask us not to participate. There is nothing like that. We are allowed to participate in the competitions. But these are just preventive measures. But by and large, the effect on the athletes is the key issue there. And so I think we need to just have them back. There is always another day.
So tell me, when are we expecting the athletes back home?
That way we expect them within the next 48 hours, obviously. China, they're about 8 hours ahead of us, and we just started the process. So we'll get them back home.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. We won't hesitate to get you talking again when we want to know more about Nigeria pulling out of the 2014 Youth Olympic Games.
Yeah, thank you.